We're here with John, CEO of DynamicAction, and Sarah, Senior VP at DynamicAction. For a company that's small, but plans to be big, how do they start building the site in preparation for multi-country launch?
Well, I think one of the things you have to do is realize that you're probably not going to build it on your own.
Right.
And so you're going to buy from one of the package vendors here that have done that for multiple different companies.
Right.
And so that first part is like, can you do that? And then you have to ask the question is, do we have the teams to do that? And so we were just meeting with one of the retailers here that's saying, I have everything is set globally in the US, and they're starting to see the difficulties of doing that and managing their brand in Eastern Europe, in Russia, because they don't have the language skills, they don't have the local knowledge, so now they're moving their teams out to each one of those geographies.
Right.
I see the other thing from a brand perspective, and I'm a brand marketer, so it's interesting to watch from a brand perspective what some of these retailers, as they go market to market, they will recreate their brand just slightly in some of these markets as they begin to test. So how a brand resonates in a European market versus, I certainly talk to a lot of retailers who really struggled when they entered China, and what does that look like?
Yeah, right.
And it is a very complex situation. And so they kind of have this opportunity to really mold their brand to that consumer in that market. I think people who struggle are those who say, I've seen a lot of the luxury folks do this where they say, we're this established brand, this is who we are, we're not going to change for anyone. And I think it's just really important to understand it's not just a matter of saying, we need to translate the language and go from dollars to pounds. It's a matter of building a company and hiring and looking at your tech solutions from the perspective as a global company and looking at each of these groups as completely, a completely different brand subset is highly elevated in most of the Asian markets. And part of that has to do with their worried about fraud. They're worried about not getting products that were the original product. So in North America, we might be able to say, I'm going to ship from store, I'm going to take this amazing, gorgeous $6,000 bag off the shelf, I'm going to just package it up from the store and ship it to somebody's home. You really can't do that in some of these other markets. You have to be able to, it has to be sealed, delivered, looking exactly like, the bag that they expected to arrive. So I think some of those things are, that it seems like a little thing. It is actually, it's something that they have to really plan for as they go into these other markets. Certainly, you have to be very sensitive as well to cultural identity, looking at, from brand perspective, what if you're selling women's clothes, what do women look like in this market? And it's not just a matter of having models that look like they're from that region. It's a matter of, what is beauty? How do people consider beauty in this market versus another market? That's a very complex human emotion. We're not talking just about clothing and makeup, right?
Yeah, right.
I think one of the things that's interesting too is if you walk the streets in Europe and you look at some of the brands that we know really well here in the US, you realize that brand has had the opportunity to, like you said, rebrand itself to give it a different, kind of look, feel, but also to upmarket their brand. So authentic, really established brands in the US that we may look at as kind of a commodity or something that's been around for a long time, they're a premium in other countries. And you can see some of the shoe brands that we have here, when you go to Italy, it's a premium brand. And you would look at it and say, I could get that just about anywhere, but in Italy they can't, and they see it as the premium product. So there's a big opportunity for US brands, small and medium businesses that have a great, solid product, something that's, well built to totally fascinate and captivate, a European, audience, and to do it at a very nice price point.
Sarah, maybe you could talk a little bit about how a company builds their brand in different markets and how it might differ from what they do in the US?
Absolutely. So I think I'll use footwear as an example. It's a great opportunity in the footwear market where they were looking at not just what they believed their brand to be, but also what their customers told them their brand was. So you think about what's available from a social network perspective and all of the image-based styling bloggers that are saying, here's how I'm styling this product. And so there's a great example of a North American company that is in hundreds of markets now, and they followed their customers' example. So in this market, they were very upscale, and then in other markets, they was much more of an urban shoe. So I think there are really great examples where retailers not just follow their own brand identity, but they let their customers in all of these markets determine what that brand identity really is. I think that's when you see people getting a lot of traction in other markets very quickly.
If you can hire any superhero with any superpower for your company, what superpower would they have?
I think I'm going to hire Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman, okay.
Yeah.
You have Wonder Woman right here.
I know, exactly. With the lasso of truth, that's what we want to hear.
Okay.